Oh, sorry guys, can you mute your microphones quickly? Can everyone mute their mics? Thank you very much. So, for a long time, there has been this debate, especially in education, about what's more important. Is it the academics or is it creativity? Over the next hour, I'm going to be joined by two distinct guests and a host of other educators from around the world to answer these questions and highlight the importance of creativity and innovation in education. Welcome to Ed Talks Live. Good evening everyone, welcome to Ed Talks Live. My name is Ivo Hanan. I've been a teacher for 20 years, predominantly in the creative field of design and technology. I currently teach in Dubai and I lead innovation and design at an IB World School. I am very fortunate to be pushing those boundaries a little bit today because we also have a co-host for the very first time from Tokyo. It's going to be Naomi Toland, who's going to be joining us from Tokyo. I'm going to try and tune in. Let's just see if this works. Naomi, let's have a look now. Okay, Naomi, are you there? Naomi, you're going to need to speak out, and hopefully I can get you on the show.
I think Naomi stepped away for a sec, or we lost her.
Oh, no, I think we have lost her. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure how that's happened, but let's see if we can get her to plug back in later on. So let's see what this show is all about. So it's episode 7, season 2, creativity and innovation. We tried to push the boundaries a little bit by being innovative ourselves, by having two co-hosts. We'll see if we can bring that back on board later on. We will be joined by Phil Cotton from the UK. He is a design technology teacher and also a 3D print specialist. And Kwaku Eining from the USA. He is also involved in working in education with innovation and will be sharing some of his insights from across the Atlantic. We've also got our faculty who will be joining us: Nick Owen, Natalie Reeves-Billing, Liam Ambrose, Edgar Palacio, Cornell Ellis, Chris Quinn, and of course Michael Crawford. Let me just see what the staff room are up to. Here we go. Okay, so staff room, are you there guys?
Hello.
Hey. How's it going? And Naomi, you've joined us again. Back in the room. There must be a little bit of a little bit of issues there with the connection, but good to see you back in. I'm going to bring you back into the show later on, Naomi. So I'm going to first of all pass the baton on to Michael Crawford. Michael, how's your weekend been so far?
So far, so good. Yesterday we had some great weather. Today, a little rainier here in Metro Detroit, but all in all, things are going well. Thanks, as always, for having me here. I'm co-founder of edspace, a social learning network for the world of education, and always glad to be the co-host here in the staff room. So let's see who else we have here. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing great. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm doing great. I've had quite a relaxing weekend. I've been a bit busy yesterday. I did an EYPN launch with about wellbeing and self-care, so I love that. And yeah, I've chilled out this morning, this afternoon, bit of baking, bit of cooking, doing my thing. So yeah, I'm pretty chilled.
Thanks, Nick.
Wonderful. And Liam, tell us about yourself.
Yes, I'm for those that haven't seen me around, I'm a primary deputy head teacher in Norfolk. Just sort of crawling through to the end of the first half term. It's been an interesting few weeks of sort of balancing, making sure everyone's in the building who needs to be, but also determined to keep moving forward and pushing things along for all of our pupils. So yeah, it's been a long half term, but I'm still smiling.
And Edgar, how are you?
Doing well. I am cold in Kansas City, Missouri, in the United States. But it's been a phenomenal week. I see my friend Cornell Ellis representing Kansas City, home of many incredible things, including myself and Cornell. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Edgar.
And
Natalie,
how you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm good. I'm a children's author, and I've snuck into the teaching faculty today to see what's going on. I'm a social entrepreneur, and I specialise in creative education.
Wonderful. Thank
Hey
you.
everybody, I'm Cornell Ellis. I am the co-founder and executive director of Brothers Liberating Our Communities, organization out of Kansas City, Missouri, aimed at increasing the amount of Black male educators inside the schools. I was in the kid-facing role for about a decade, and now I'm stepped out to expand impact. So glad to be here, glad to be spreading the message around the world. Thanks for having me.
Hello, everybody. Chris Quinn here, London, Ontario, in Canada. I'm a recently retired educator. Worked for 30 years as a district coordinator, classroom teacher. And I'm going back to the classroom starting this week for about a month. I'll be in a kindergarten classroom for the next month or so. So I'm looking forward to the return.
Hey, I'm Phil, tuning in from Manchester. I'm also the founder of Learn by Layers, which is a 3D printing community. And I'm a teacher as well. I'm really looking forward to being on the show tonight. Evo, thank you very much for letting me in.
Hey everybody, my name is Kwaku, and I'm based here in San Diego, California, in the US, and I'm the director for the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurial Thinking at the San Diego Jewish Academy. So what that means is I get to chase down a ton of really interesting ideas and find ways to connect it to education. So I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Great, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us from all corners of the globe. It's really nice to have a diverse set of voices on what happens to sometimes be quite a controversial conversation with people in education. So let's try and see if we can highlight some of the reasons why creativity and innovation should get a little bit more stage time. So let's go over to, hold on 1 second. The education news, which just popped up really quickly. So we unfortunately had the passing of someone who I felt was a great role model of mine and someone who inspired a lot of people around the world, Sir Ken Robinson, who passed away not too long ago. And he was a great advocate of creativity. I mean, he had a talk on YouTube which really shaped people's minds on how their viewpoints on creativity in education. His quote here, "Creativity now is as important in education as literacy." And the words that not only himself as an educator, but other educators and companies speak around the world has certainly started to create this ripple effect of why innovation and creativity needs to be a little bit more of a priority in the education sector. Here's a graphic that has been picked from an Adobe survey that was created, and it was surveying thousands of people from around the world, and it shows this gap. I mean, this the title of this infographic, the universal concern that creativity is suffering at work and at school. You can see here, 2/3 feel creativity is valuable to society, but then 80% people feel that unlocking creativity is critical to economic growth. So 80% of people unlocking creativity, yet we don't seem to see that 80% necessarily in some fields, possibly education as well. As we look further along the line with the infographic, only 39% of global respondents describe themselves as being creative. 52% of Americans say they are creative. Okay, so we have variations of how people feel they fit on that creative spectrum across the globe. Towards the bottom end of the infographic, we can see that, on average, it says here, only 25% of people spend 25% of their time on creative work. More than half of those surveyed feel that creativity is being stifled by their education systems. 59% globally, 62% in the US. And then towards the bottom end of the infographic, it shows you what Americans believe. New York being the most creative city, Tokyo being the second. Well, actually, Tokyo being the first at 28%, New York being the second, but very close together. And then you look at the nations, the Americans quite highly rate themselves on the creative spectrum, 48%, in regards to how they feel the US sits as a top nation in creativity, 34% for Japan. A little bit controversial in some cases, but I do believe the American media and fashion and design style does often resonate and influence other parts of the world. So let's have a quick look at what we're going to be going to next. It will be the poll. I just want to make sure that it is showing up properly. Yes, it is. So we are going to go over to the poll. We have two polls in this show. They both are about digging a bit deeper within the creative and innovation arena. The first one asks the question, how is developing creativity promoted across your current school? Okay, you can go to menti.com. The code is 4866097. 4866097. Menti.com. Michael, I'm pretty sure Michael's going to just drop that into the chat just to make sure that everyone's aware of that code. Let's see what people come up with. This is our first Creativity and Innovation Live poll. We're going to jump straight to our first. Straight off the bat, we've got somebody who's put in there. We'll revisit that after our first guest. So, our first guest. He is from the UK. He's a 3D print specialist. He's also a design technology teacher. Phil Cotton. Can you hear me, Phil?
Hello, Evo. Thank you. Yes, I can hear you. Good to be here tonight.
Okay, so what have I done here? There we go, Phil. Thank you very much for joining us. How are things in the UK at the moment?
Yeah, we're back to school. We're sort of getting some sense of, I wouldn't say reality, but it's an alternative reality where we're making progress back in school, and sort of things have got started up again. So yeah, it's an interesting time, but it's actually a pretty good time as well, because on the subject of innovation and creativity, as in previous shows. And schools at the moment have had to get very creative with how they deliver the curriculum, and also very innovative with how they teach on a day-to-day basis, either remotely or in class. So even though it is a challenging time, it's a refreshing time as well to see the rapid change that's taking place in education.
Yeah, that's really good, Phil. So, Phil, tell everyone just a little bit about what you do.
Brilliant, cheers, yeah. So I am the founder of Learn by Layers, which is a 3D printing curriculum for schools. So if you're a teacher or you're a school and you're looking to get into 3D printing, after you've bought the machine, what do you do? What do you teach in the classroom? So I developed the curriculum and I launched it 3 years ago, and it's gone global. It's gone to 33 countries. There's over 200,000 children that are taught 3D printing from teachers and schools that have invested in Learn by Layers. So that's the sort of main thing I'm involved with. I also work with the UK National STEM Centre, known as STEM Learning, educating teachers on how to 3D print in the classroom. And then on top of that, I work in the school as head of department for design and technology. A bit like yourself there, Ivo.
Yeah, absolutely. We're like kindred spirits, my friend.
We are.
Funnily enough, people might not know this, but both Phil and myself went to the same secondary school on the Wirral, so there's a nice little connection to our past, and the same design technology teacher that inspired us to get into the profession, I believe.
Yeah, and then the same teacher in university who trained us.
And the same teacher in university, absolutely.
We never knew each other till we crossed paths in Singapore.
No, that was 2 years, almost 2 years ago to the date now. So yeah, absolutely great. Always great to connect with people globally, and it's been great to know Phil over the past couple of years. So you've just mentioned that you currently work in schools across the globe. How do you find in general, maybe give us some percentages, the schools you come across, which ones as a percentage heavily promote creativity and which don't? What do you think?
It's interesting because I haven't got specific stats on the schools that I work with, but we do get a lot of feedback, and essentially over half the schools that I've signed up to learn ballet they give us over time feedback, because usually it takes probably about 8 months to a year before it's fully embedded in the curriculum, and over half the schools are fully embracing creativity but using 3D printing as a vessel to do that. So not really sure what the other half of the schools are up to, because they don't always get back to you. However, the fact that they have reached out and invested in 3D printing, invested in new and emerging technologies is a real positive thing, because at the moment, if they hadn't have gone down the learn by layers route, what would they be teaching in the classroom? Would it be effective? Would they be making progress with children? We don't know. So it's a positive sort of. I'd say about half. Yeah, about half. But get back with information.
Okay, and how do you feel as a design, technology, creative innovation specialist? Maybe 3 tips. What are the 3 things that anyone who's listening out there can do straight away to help promote creativity and innovation further in schools?
Definitely. It's whatever you are teaching to children, it's got to have a real life meaning. So whatever they are learning, how does it change people's lives? Because if it's real life, then the children will be more passionate about it, and they will be invested in it, because they can see the outcome will actually make a positive change upon society. And an example of that is the e-enable community. It's huge in America, and a lot of schools are involved in it. And essentially, children in the local community who may have a disability, they are printing 3D printed limbs for the children, and schools are involved in maybe creating a STEM club to then print off a prosthetic hand for a young child. And that makes a real difference, and that real life focus to teaching is essential for them to make progress. Also, the kids have got to be curious. They've got to be curious about what they're learning. They haven't got that interest. If they haven't got that curiosity, then that's gonna impact in what they learn. If not motivated to learn it, and showing that innovation and that ability to question and ability to just really get deep in with the learning, then that if that's not there, that's going to be a barrier as well. So it's got to be real life. There's got to be curiosity, and also project-based learning. This concept of going to school, teach a lesson, and then move on and teach a different lesson, and then the knowledge is not revisited, it's not applied to a project. That's not good for creativity. So embarking upon a project that again is real life, that stimulates curiosity, and that is extended over a period of time is really, really important.
Really good. Phil, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for those insights. It's great to have you on the show as well. Really appreciate it. I look forward to hearing your conversation and your chats during the quiz later on, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All the best.
All the best. So, we're going to jump over now to, let's just have a look here. I'm going to try and jump over now to the staff room. What have I done here? Okay. So, guys, what did you think of that? I'm going to jump to Nick first of all. Nick, what did you think of what Phil had to say?
I think what he's doing with his curriculum is absolutely amazing, absolutely fantastic. I think for me, when I look at it with my hat on as a wellbeing practitioner, somebody who goes into schools to encourage children to be the best versions of themselves, the fact that you're putting into the curriculum challenge, curiosity, collaboration, purpose, all of these things actually build a child's self-esteem, self-confidence. So I think all of the whole basis of creativity in the classroom is a massive platform for children to grow as human beings, as wonderful creatures that they can be, working together on something that's positive, that's going to make an impact. These are all wonderful things that we should be teaching our children. It shouldn't be lost in the curriculum. It shouldn't be lost to assessment-based learning. So I think it's absolutely wonderful what you're doing, Phil. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicola. Yeah, I totally agree. That focus in some schools on an end result, on a test score, can be detrimental to the child. If you place more focus on real world learning and actually making it relevant to the child, then the test scores will follow naturally. So, it's interesting because the schools that focus on the league table essentially are not doing a service to the kids. Society is not judged by a piece of paper.
Completely agree.
Michael, I'm going to pass it over to you from here on.
Absolutely. And yeah, thanks, Phil. I think the thing that jumped out to me was around curiosity and the power of curiosity to motivate, to energize, to connect people, to solve problems. That seems massive in education, especially with creativity and innovation. Liam, what did you take from Phil's comments?
It's really interesting. So thinking of it from a design technology perspective, I'm a musician myself, and although I work in primary education, I used to be a head of music, and I think actually to sort of join together what Ivo was saying about this tension between academics and creativity, I think it comes from a place of misunderstanding, and actually I'm sure Phil would see this within a DT classroom in the same way that I've experienced it as a music teacher, that actually there's a huge amount of knowledge goes into assisting pupils to be creative, and actually creativity is the joyous outcome of having the knowledge to be able to do something new. I think one of the things that I think is particularly exciting is that when you're introducing children to something new, whether it might be learning how to play an instrument or read music, or whether it be using a 3D printer, you're giving them the experience of starting from the ground and seeing what progress they've made. And I think you don't get that in every single subject that you teach unless you're working at the very bottom in the sort of foundation years, to actually get to the end of a project at a half term and say, okay, at the beginning of this, you've never seen a piano, or you've never seen a 3D printer, and now look what you've done. To be able to actually link those very specific creative activities with learning and progress more generally, I think is hugely valuable.
Brilliant. Thank you. And Edgar, what are you thinking about after Phil's comments?
I appreciate it that Phil said real life meaning, curiosity, project-based learning. A couple other things that come to mind with that, having traveled to different schools across the country, I see a lot of schools engaged in project-based learning, but what I don't see in those environments are the elements of simplicity, execution, and consistency. And so I think that there has to be some standards around how schools as a community are deciding how to engage in these conversations. And I also am thinking about the elevation of student voice. I think our students are creative, right? They are constantly thinking about our new ideas and thinking about how to do things differently. And so how much autonomy and how much agency do they have in their own education in these spaces. And so it's a great opportunity for students to kind of lead these conversations and help lead the teachers in design and creativity.
Wonderful.
That's
Thanks,
cool.
Edgar. Love that.
Thanks.
Email.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Edgar, for sharing your thoughts. Nick and Liam as well. I'll hop over to the poll to see what that is currently showing us. So at the moment, guys, it is 22%, little or not at all. 33% were using it increasingly, started promoting it this year. 11% were using it widely, we're promoting creativity widely. We have a dedicated team and many teachers promote creativity on a daily basis. And then 33% of the votes have come in saying extensively. So all staff are highly creative and promote it daily. So it's quite a mixed bag, really. You've got the two large percentages that are number 4 and number 2, a small percentage at number 3, and then at 22%, almost a quarter with number 1. And that's very, very interesting. Michael, do you want to give some final thoughts about what I've just mentioned there?
Well, I'm not super surprised that there is a wide range. It feels like more and more schools, districts, cities, countries are beginning to recognize the importance and value of creativity and innovation, and so it seems like that number should be drifting up towards number 4. And so to see the spread, to me, feels like there is movement. Because I would imagine historically for schools there hasn't been a lot. It hasn't been focused on that. It's been focused on academics primarily. It's been focused on rote primarily, and so beginning to see more and more people drift into the number 3, number 4 sections, I think is a promising sign to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. It's great to see it, to be honest. So to add to the innovation and creativity angle of the show, we're going to jump into a video from our resident edutech expert, Erica, who's going to be leaving us with an inspiring message. Check it out.
A good classroom environment always has some elements of creativity, which makes the lessons more interesting and interactive. The right mix of creativity along with curriculum helps students to be innovative and encourages them to learn new things. Students can grow up as good communicators, in addition to improving their emotional and social skills. And creativity definitely heals. Here are 10 ideas of how to tie in creativity, innovation, and social-emotional learning using these incredibly creative tools. Number 1, have the students use the green screen and video production in the awesome app of Doing to create mindfulness videos. And number 2, you can even have them use Google Earth to create videos to explore other cultures. Number 3, video production and the green screen aren't just for the kiddos. Look at these counselors having a blast creating a video on growth mindset. Number 4, oh my gosh, this is my favorite. If you are teaching virtually, you have to try to create virtual backgrounds where you can have a blast with your students and get very interactive with your lessons. You can find a full tutorial on my YouTube channel on how to do this. Number 5, a Unity theme. I use Doing and film the kids separately. That way I can put them together on the app. Number 6, oh this one's super fun. In WeVideo, you can create your own animated GIFs and you can have the kids make them inspirational so they can bring joy to everybody. Number 7, quotes can be really powerful and tell a great story. And you can use all 3 of these programs to make something super creative. Another fun idea for Adobe Spark, WeVideo, and Doing is to have the kids create a video on all the things they're grateful for. Number 9, have them create things for pure joy. Joy is such a powerful and healing emotion, and it's so much fun to share joy with others, even if you're the one having the fun. And number 10, don't rule out graphic design. Photoshop and Pixlr are both extremely powerful programs. Of course, the best tool, in my opinion, is the power and the magic of using a green screen.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Always love Erica's videos. Erica, thank you very much for contributing that video. Very inspiring. It gives us obviously a few insights on how to be a bit more creative in our classrooms. So we're going to jump to the second poll now, and we're going to have our co-host joining us as well. So Naomi, let me see if I can get you into the room now. Naomi, can you let us know that you're there, Naomi?
I'm here. I'm from Tokyo. I'm coming in. I wasn't looking before, but finally, technology is not my friend this week, I don't think. But we're here now.
Awesome. Okay, so do you want to tell everyone about what's happening with poll number 2?
Yes, I'm so excited for this poll because next week I am starting the book study with George Couros and Innovative Mindset. So this really ties in with what empathetic educators are doing next week. And so we're starting off at question 2 with when developing an innovative mindset, what skills are built? And that's going to turn into a word cloud. So what do you think those things are? And I think, Evo, I don't have the code for that, but I think Michael's going to put in the code into the chat and read out the code.
Yeah, the code is 4866097. It's the same code as before. So 4866097. People who take part in it, Naomi, can add up to 5 different terms. So give us a bit of a heads up. How do you think this is going to link to the work that George and other educators have been doing around the world?
Well, I think that innovative mindset, whenever I interview them, which is part of like what we're doing next week for empathetic educators, I think a big part of his work that I'm really inspired by and just talking to other educators about that is just the idea of growth and building everything based on relationships as well. So I think like the people I've mentioned in the staff room and also Phil, the idea of real life. We are in a world where real life empathy, like the innovative mindset, trying to help other people, trying to come from a place of growing together. And I think that's what I really took away from chatting to George Couros, but also people who also talk about innovation, is that relationships are key. If we're making it real life, we're really making it to do with people, making it to do with us, making it to do with what impact we can have. And I think that's what innovation is all about for me, and the creativity part of it just sparks that. So yeah, I'm excited to see what five things, up to 5 words people add to this conversation, because it's great.
Awesome. I'm going to flick it on. Are you ready to take over and introduce our next guest and do the questioning before we jump into the staff room after? Are you good for that, Naomi?
Let's give it a go. Sure, that's what it's all about. It's giving it a go and seeing what happens. So yeah, I'm excited.
Okay.
So yes, we have our next guest 2, Kwaku, and I'm really excited about this because as part of your job, Kwaku, you mentioned that you're part of Director of Innovation, and I think that's just amazing. I looked on your Twitter whenever we joined about 3 weeks ago. I followed you since then, and I love your little post at the very top that you with the VR headset trying to get that innovation into it. So maybe just give a bit of a background towards yourself and how you bring innovation into your role.
Sure. So similar to Liam, I'm also a former music teacher. I taught music K through 5 for 10 years in New York City, in Harlem, and in Brooklyn. And so with a lot of the work that I do, it is usually sort of through that lens of really creationism, but also the idea of the freedom of failure. So within music classes, I was constantly encouraging kids to essentially just try parts, even if they knew they were going to play it wrong, because through that failure became the real growth, and also, cognitively you're building out that schema. And so a lot of that extends into what I do now with teachers, where essentially they will have 90% of an idea of a project or an approach to teaching that they want to take, but they don't actually fully see it. And so my job is to sort of hold up that mirror, give them the confidence to try it, and then bring in maybe an element or two that might help take that project to the next level, whether it be connecting them to someone who can act as an authentic audience, or helping them to scale out the experience. So similar to one of the comments that Phil made, it actually has impact on the world, and that those students have a voice in a larger way than just within a classroom exchange.
And it's so true. I think you just mentioned about that confidence piece, giving them the confidence to actually try it, be a risk taker, try. And I think I heard I seen Stephanie in the chat on YouTube. saying that creativity is a skill, like helping learners actually develop that. We have it innately, but also helping it to flourish, helping it to grow, really comes back to the confidence space. And so in your experience, what do you think that impact innovative skills can have on the children's experience? Like what is your insights in that?
I think that at the end of the day, innovative experiences empowers kids just by establishing a base level of confidence for them. And what I mean by that is students have the ability to take on a challenge and realize, oh my God, I did this. I had no clue how I was going to get from step A to step F, and I've done this, and I can take this and apply it to anything. So this summer, I did a project with a friend of mine where we were running a camp at the school that I work at, and then she was running a separate program, and it was this really great opportunity to bring kids together to create VR content remotely, because all of this happened over Zoom. And the students, as part of this, they had to create this content. The authentic audience is that they were tied to this huge conference, Comic-Con, and they had an immense amount of freedom to create an experience that either sold something to someone or changed someone's opinion. And so I thought going into it, the kids are going to be excited about Comic-Con, or they're going to be excited about each student got to use their own VR headset for the summer. And the feedback at the end of the experience from the students, the thing that excited them the most was their ability to accomplish things that they were struggling with throughout the course. So it wasn't the technology, it wasn't the flashiness of being tied to like a big international conference, but it was just that I didn't understand how to transfer this file. I didn't think I could do this. And then we figured it out as a team, and then that took whatever we were doing to the next level. And so the idea there is that the confidence that they gain from that experience, that moves into anything, that moves into the way they see the world. The technology is exciting, but you get used to it really quickly. The flashiness of the audience is great as well, but then that will end. But knowing that you can accomplish something outside of testing well or playing the game of school, but pushing yourself to do something larger than you thought you could actually do, that to me is that's the whole point of innovation and giving kids these types of experiences.
I love that. And I think that's like the whole point of us educators as well. I think, like you say, technology can change and the platform can change, and like the way that we put it out there can change, but actually the way we make the learners feel what they can do going forward is what we're actually trying to aim for. So I think that's a beautiful, beautiful takeaway. I think thank you so much for your insights, and I think that's exactly what we're looking for, is sharing that. So I think do you want to just share like your tag on Twitter, because I think I really like whenever I'm following you, seeing your insights and what you share. So is it at Kwaku, is it, or
at Kwaku1? Someone got to at Kwaku first. I don't know who that guy is.
You're going to find him and try and get it off him.
Exactly.
At Kwaku1, that's great. Thank you. And I think that's us going back to the staff room, because there's so many insights from that. And we're going back over to the staff room. I'll just let you go transfer over into our window. Nice little segue.
Well, before we go into the staff room, we're just going to see what's happening in the poll now. Obviously, with me being the person behind it all, people aren't going to see this until the live show. It pops up in the live show. But the key words that we can see, Naomi, the biggest key word is empathy. Creativity, problem solving, resilience are up there as well. Other ones around unorthodox thinking, collaboration, divergent thinking. It's quite a cool word cloud. We are going to, let me just try and get this to work. I'm going to try and get into the staff room now. So I'm going to let you take the lead on this one, actually, Naomi, in the staff room. Go for it, Naomi.
I think that makes me so excited that empathy is a big word again, obviously coming from empathetic educators. The last 3 weeks, actually, we've had word clouds. Empathy's been one of the biggest words. That makes me excited about that. So I'm really excited to hear what our staff room think about those words and how that relates to them. So let's go first to Natalie. Natalie, what's your thought?
Hello, and thank you so much for that. I can relate to it so much. I'm from a music background myself, so it seems we've got a few musicians in the room. And I can totally take the idea of seeing your projects through that sort of lens and using that in the classroom. It's so important. And what you said about confidence, that's something that I face a lot when I go into a school. When I have a project, I have to begin there. Otherwise, it won't even start. So we start off with confidence and giving a child the right to be creative, almost, to break those rules and to think outside the box. And usually that happens in the first segment, just trying to unravel and unpick those mindsets the child has got themselves into before we can get into the core work. So that's a massive one and probably step one. So I totally relate to that. My lens, what I approach things through is storytelling. So for me, it was songwriting, which lent itself to storytelling. And as a device, I found it so versatile as it applies to everything, every topic that you could probably imagine in school. And to find themselves through that storytelling device. So yeah, I just wanted to say, thank you very much for that. I can totally take on board, and confidence is key.
Totally agree. It's crazy how many music people we have in the staff room today. We've got lots of musicians, so that's still the creativity part. I'll hand it over to Michael now, just leading the staff room area.
For sure, thanks. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. The confidence piece, I think, is something that that jumps out at me as what happens when young people get to take on, young people and adults, frankly, get to take on challenging tasks and get the opportunity to overcome them. Cornell, what did you take from Kwaku's wisdom?
Yeah, I think that just some general thoughts too. Like, and when I think about innovation, I think about anti-racism, right? I hear a lot of people talking about and referring to these boxes or these rules that innovation is allowing people to step outside of and think outside of. Those boxes and those rules are whiteness, right? Traditional school is not meant for people of color. Traditional school was meant to actually oppress and marginalize and assimilate people of color into a certain tradition, into a certain hierarchy, into a certain societal stratus. And so when I think about innovation and giving kids the confidence to accomplish tasks that are more than just menial test taking or completion of tasks, right? Those are traditional school norms that are white patriarchal and white supremacist education norms. And it's extremely important for us to keep in mind that the kids that need the most confidence are the kids that never saw themselves in that school system, right? These kids that we are giving them new confidence and new opportunities and abilities, those are kids that may not have had those opportunities or abilities or people to look at or had those types of school experiences. In my work, I do a lot of, I focus on bringing more Black men into education. And one of the main reasons why we don't have a lot of Black men in education was because they didn't have positive school experiences as students. And a lot of this positive innovation and creativity inside of schools that I'm hearing from teachers, and I love this conversation that we're having, is going to provide more positive outcomes for Black and brown students, which is going to eventually help revolutionize our education system in an anti-racist way.
So glad you said that. Not all innovation requires technology. Oftentimes, innovation requires revisiting the current systems and structures and things that are in place and beginning to unravel those and dismantle those and build up the things that are much more equitable and human. So I appreciate that.
And the both and, right? Like including technology and putting 3D printers or putting new instruments in front of kids that may not have had those opportunities before, right? Totally. That's innovation. That's creativity.
Right. Yeah, love that. Chris, what do you think?
I want to pick up on what Kwaku said about students experiencing accomplishment through struggle. And I really appreciate the connection to real world problems. And what you made me think of, Kwaku, was the educator. And I thought about what educators either need to or are currently, some of them that I've worked with, currently struggling with, in terms of being able to release some sense of control in the classroom. Having worked at this for 30 years, it took me a long time to realize that it was okay for me as an educator to take risks in the classroom, to allow my students to do the same. So where we've got a classroom environment where students are willing to take risks, feel safe to do so, and ultimately become leaders in the classroom, where I'm able to release some of that control and let them take over, still providing explicit instruction around skill sets that are necessary, but in providing learning spaces that are fluid and flexible, and even providing open-ended questions. In my early years, I was very hesitant to want to do that, but students respond so favorably, and you talked about that need for giving them those opportunities so they can develop the confidence. I think really incredibly important. They develop those skills of collaboration. They engage in very exciting conversations. And I, as an educator, often learn as much, if not more, than my students when that kind of environment exists in a classroom. So thank you for inspiring me as I head back into a classroom. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Chris, you've actually touched on a really good point, because that relinquishing of control is the largest sort of signifier of confidence. As educators, when we don't feel we have to control every moment, because we have faith in ourselves, but also faith in the students that we're working with, that they'll be able to hit what they're going to be able to hit, and so we can push them out into the water, and we can let them have that struggle. It's what you're talking about with students. To a certain extent, I think it's the same thing with educators, because I feel like there's a level of what I do with educators. And really quickly to respond to something that Cornell said, the idea of innovation specifically within Black and Brown communities, I think this is twofold. One, I 100% agree with you that as students of color or people of color within at least the American education system, I can't speak about the UK, we've had to be innovative because we're in a system that isn't designed for us. It's like a left-handed person using a right-handed desk. Additionally, as far as the technology piece within all communities, where we are now, especially with immersive tech, is that we're in a place where it's becoming the new form of media. And so all students should understand how to document their stories, going back to the point that Natalie was saying, and be able to share their context through all of this new technology, whether it's VR, AI, whatever the case might be. I'm sorry, Michael, because I'm sure we're running over.
Love that. No, that was great. I appreciate it. And thanks, to everybody for their comments. I'm excited to go back and watch this already because I couldn't take notes fast enough. So, Ivo, back to you.
So, guys, obviously we've been really digging deep into the reasons why not only is creativity and innovation not necessarily a priority, but why it should become a priority. And we've had insights shared from not only Phil, our guest Phil, and Kwaku, but everyone on the global landscape in this show. So thank you very much. However, let's find out just which one of you guys knows a little bit more than the rest of you in our staff room quiz. Okay, so for the first time, guys, here we go. For the first time, not the background.
Red team.
For the first time,
already.
And you guys at home will see this. The guys who are in the staff room will only see this on the rerun. I've actually got the point system working, which was ridiculously complicated, but I finally got it to work, which is quite cool. So when you guys score points, it will actually appear on the screen. So don't let your team down, guys. Let's go over to our first team captain. It is Nick Owen. Nick, do you want to introduce your team?
Yes, we have Nick, Edgar, Leo. Woo! Woohoo! Come on, cheer, guys. Supposed to tell you me so.
Let's go.
We're going to win. The only time you'll see me with red. I'm not red.
Nick, there's a reason why I put you and Kwaku in this team. Just saying, guys.
Blue is the truest color. That's all I'm going to say.
And then the purples, Chris.
Delighted to introduce our awesome team, Natalie, Cornell, and Phil, and myself. So
we're gonna win. We're gonna win.
Go team, purple.
I won last week. I want to win again.
Let's do it, guys. The way it's going to work, guys, is we're going to have Michael, who's going to be keeping a close eye on the time. The answer will always come from the team captain. You will have around 20 seconds to come up with your answer. Question 1 and 3 will be driven directly to Team Red. If they do not get the question right, it will go to the purple team. 2 points are up for question 1 and 3. Question 2 and 4 will be directed to the purple team by Naomi. Naomi, if you check on your Twitter, you will see the questions. And you will be directing those questions to the purple team. Again, 20 seconds, 2 points for each one. The 5th question will go to the team with the least amount of points. If you are on a draw, we'll just have to battle it out like we did last time. Guys, are we ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Ready, let's do it.
Okay, so question number 1 goes to the Reds. 2 points up for grabs. What percentage of people surveyed by Adobe globally, so percentage globally, felt that creativity is being stifled by the education system?
20 seconds on the clock.
Is that not multiple choice?
No.
Guys. Come on, help me out. 80% is that what it was?
80%?
I think so, yeah.
I do think it's a high percentage of folks globally.
80%.
Are we playing Price is Right rules?
All right, I need an answer. Nick.
80%.
80%. Lock it in. Evo.
It's funny because Phil's nodding his head. It is not 80%. Chris, purples.
All right, 20 seconds, Chris.
You're on. Purple.
I'm gonna say pretty confidently, because of my photographic memory, 59%.
I'm with you.
Okay, 59%. Evo.
We're locked in at 59. The rest of the team okay with that?
Face looks a bit sneaky.
Team confident.
59%.
Guys, 59%. It is 59%, guys.
I know.
Well done, Phil. 2 points. 2 points to the purples. Let me see if this actually works, because yes, 2 points to the purples. There we go. Purples go straight into the lead.
Nice work.
Okay, Naomi, over to you.
Okay, dun dun dun. Based on the survey, Americans believe the US is the most creative nation. Japan was second, but with what percentage? Would you like me to repeat the question?
Yeah, go on quickly.
Based on the survey, Americans believe the US is the most creative nation. Japan was second, but with what percentage?
Wasn't it around the 30s for the second? 36, 34.
30.
I've got nothing.
36.
Go 34. Okay, just try 34. I know it's one of them. Well, 36, 34.
36, Phil.
Go 34. 34. Try 34.
You sure?
Something's saying 34.
Go with 34.
Phil's going to bet the house on this.
All right, 34.
I feel like I'm in
Locking
Vegas.
it in.
I feel like I'm at a
34.
blackjack table in Vegas.
Yeah. Lock it in. Evo.
No, Naomi.
That
Naomi,
is
sorry.
correct.
Is that correct?
It is correct. Phil, we're going to Vegas, baby. You are on the numbers. Wow.
Loving it.
That is
That one.
ridiculous.
You're amazing.
Cornell to 36. Was willing Cornell to send it over.
Amazing. Amazing.
The US was like just on close to 50%,
Yeah.
and then Japan, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Unbelievable, guys.
Those are the teacher's pet. We actually know all the
I
answers.
know. Unreal. That goes so. 4 to the purples, guys. Well done. The reds are still to come off the mark. Maybe, Nick, this question will be the question for your team. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You're going to love this one, Natalie.
Oh, will I?
Sir Ken Robinson was born in Liverpool, but in which year?
Oh,
20 seconds on the clock. Here we go.
how old was he now?
Help me out. How old was he when he died? He's
70 something.
I think it's got to be really early 50s or something.
Natalie, you're on the other team. You're not meant to answer for the other team. I just said you will like it because you're from Liverpool.
I'm going to take that. Let's go with 1950. 1950. Let's do that.
All right, we need it. Nick, lock it in.
Right, own goal.
Nick, is that good? 1950?
Goal.
I'm going to go with the majority.
No.
Majority
Okay.
1950, yeah.
1950. Evo.
No.
Guys, it is 1950. Congratulations. Guys, was that a guess? Was that actually a guess? Legit guess?
I think
I literally, whatever Natalie said.
he's either the same age as my mum or the same age as my dad.
That's pretty good. Guys, the purples. These reds are sharpening their tools, guys. You know what I mean? Okay,
Natalie, was that
reds.
your guess?
Natalie, did you score on goal?
Oh, that is brilliant. Okay, so 2 to the reds, 4 to the purples.
4 to 2.
Naomi.
Oh, this one now. Let's see if purple can take it. How many times has Sir Ken's famous "Do Schools Kill Creativity" been viewed? How many times has it been viewed?
20 seconds.
In the millions.
Purple team.
In the millions. I'd say about a complete guess here. It's got to be over 20 million times on YouTube.
I trust you with your figures. You seem
I've got to do it, but
Bring.
Those are reliable today.
So we're going to say 20 million, Phil?
I think more. I think that has been maybe viewed more.
We need a final answer here.
Anyone else? Could someone else jump in as well?
One man team here, Phil. One man team.
It's
all the comments. Everybody just thinks you're the guy.
Can we have closest? If it's not, can we have closest to the round? Closest.
Yeah, we will. We did that last time, so it will be closest.
Right.
But Chris has to give the final answer.
Chris,
You want to go as high as 25 million?
Yeah.
all right, we need it, Chris.
Well, that's smack bang in the middle, isn't it? You want either one side of it, so if you're going to go below or above. So if you smack bang in the middle of it, go 24. Go 24.
Final answer.
24 million, Naomi.
So Naomi,
24 million.
yeah.
I won't say the answer, but that's not it.
Okay.
Okay. Back to the reds.
Not it. So we're going back to red.
Oh, yeah.
We think this is higher.
Back to the reds.
The steal. Could the Reds steal it?
Well,
32.
It's at least 25 million, if it's not 24, right? It's at least 25.
What we're saying, guys? Come on, give me an answer. I think he's at probably about 1.2 billion.
Oh, wow.
Maybe a little less.
I watched
All right.
about 6.
Check the
All
clock,
right, Nick,
Just have to
Michael.
be closer than that.
Check the clock.
That's the clock. Yeah, here
Yeah.
we go. Nick,
50.
final answer here, Nick.
Right, 50.
5-0.
Yeah.
50 million views. All right. Evo then. All right, actually, Naomi will stay
Naomi,
with you.
yeah. It goes to the closest, Naomi.
Just the closest number?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sorry, purples, reds is closest. It was 50 million.
Oh, wow.
60 million. 60 million.
It was 60 million. Reds are closest, and they have just stolen. And it is now gone from 4-0 to 4-all, guys. This is like the Premier League, Kwaku. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely,
Equalizer.
absolutely crazy. There's more drama in here than last night's games. Unbelievable. So I am gonna bring up the red. There you go, 4-all, which means it's a tie for the double-pointed question number 5. And this is an absolute beauty. It is going to be based on closest by geographical location. Okay. Michael, are we just going to let them bash it out, a bit of chaos at the end of the show?
I think that's all we can do here, really.
Yeah, Michael, Naomi, and I, we believe in chaos theory. You have 20 seconds together to figure out. According to Mash & Co., this was the latest one I could find because there was Business Insider, Forbes, and so on. This is the latest one, February 2020. What country is the most innovative school in the world located? Closest by location, or obviously get the country right. 20 seconds.
Right.
Go
Here
nuts.
we go. Ready, set, go.
Wait.
What we're thinking, I'm thinking.
Finland. We're going Scandinavia.
Switzerland, maybe Switzerland. I don't know, but Switzerland's pretty creative,
Finland.
innovative.
Yes.
Finland. I would say Finland.
It's not going to be the UK.
Finland.
Not the UK or the US.
No.
It's not the
No.
US.
Right.
Yeah, one of those. Sweden, Finland, somewhere.
All right, Nick and
Finland.
Chris. Everybody else, Nick and Chris, I need final answers from y'all.
Okay, go ahead, Nick.
What is Finland?
Red is Finland. Chris?
Let's go. We'll try Sweden.
Okay. There you have it. Evo, Naomi, Nick and the red team say Finland. Chris and the purple team say Sweden.
Wow. I had to actually check. I know this sounds bad, geography teachers out there, but I had to check. It's in Copenhagen in Denmark, which means Sweden is the closest.
Wow.
Brilliant.
So I mean they are neighbouring countries, you know what I mean, Finland and Sweden, so very close, but Denmark is basically almost connected to Finland. So guys,
I wore a purple shirt for this. That's why. It's a purple shirt.
absolutely brilliant, guys. Like I said, end-to-end stuff. What a show, guys. Honestly, it's been fantastic. Great insight, a little bit of fun at the end. I do need to put up the points on the purple team just at the end. There you go. Oh no, it's 8 actually. So it ends up, because of double points, 8-4. A little bit like the penalties in the Euros. Do you know what I mean? Guys, well done. Right at the end, extra time, you have managed to get the point. Purple team, well done. Give yourselves a cheer. Great job, guys.
Yeah.
Commiserations to the Reds. I'm going to go like a little bit like Sky News, Sky Sports. I'm going to go straight to the commentary to Nick. Reds, how'd you feel?
Gutted. But I was going to say Copenhagen. It was on the tip.
It was. Next time, I tell you what, you won't forget it. You won't forget it. Chris, the winning team, how'd you feel, Chris?
We're gracious winners. We're delighted. We're pretty excited and happy. Too bad, Nick. We feel bad for you, but
That is that Canadian humility. That's what that is.
Oh God, guys, absolutely.
It's not their best, eh?
Oh man, absolutely brilliant stuff. Guys, I am going to, at the end of that, I'm going to be saying thank you to you all. Thank you very much to our guests, Phil and Kwaku, for sharing their insights on education, creativity, innovation, and to our staff room, Edgar, Chris, Natalie, Michael, who's been co-hosting, thank you very much, Nick, Cornell, our co-host of the show, Naomi, and Liam, who I'm going to be jumping in with a little bit later on. Well, I might as well do it now because we will be going straight to the end song in just a moment. Liam has created a little bit of an innovative performance. Do you want to give a 10-second quick idea of what people are going to be looking forward to in the next minute or so?
Yeah, of course. So I tried to give you a 90-second performance, even though all of my musical instruments are packed up and locked at the back of an outbuilding. So this is creativity within constraints.
Musical creativity and innovation 101. That is going to be coming up in just a moment. Liam, thank you very much for sending that out there. Guys, it's been a great show. Thanks again for tuning in. Next week, we are going to have Season 2's Ed Talk sessions. Inspiring 5-minute talks by educators for educators. It'll be live right here on the same channel, Ed Talks Live, on the 25th of October, starting at 11 a.m. New York Eastern Standard Time, London 4 p.m, Dubai 7 p.m. It's really been a bit of a blast. Oh, and that's going to be, by the way, I'm going to be co-hosting that with Toria Bono from Tiny Voice Tuesday Unites. It has really been a blast, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Please share this show with others, whether it's your students or teachers who you feel would benefit from watching this show. Please have yourself a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next Sunday. I'll be leaving you with this very creative performance by Liam Ambrose. And I'll be catching you in 7 days' time. Have a great week ahead, guys.